Hello, and welcome to the Alliance for Hope International Affiliated Centers webinar series. My name is Rayanne Passantino, and I am the Assistant Director of Family Justice Center Programs. I am excited to host this series that will showcase each of our affiliated centers by giving them an opportunity to share information about their sites and the work they are doing in their community. For more information about becoming an affiliated center or creating a center in your community, please visit our website at www.allianceforhope.com. I now have the great pleasure of introducing Catherine Johnson, who will introduce herself and take you on the tour of the Guilford County Family Justice Center.
Hello, I'm Catherine Johnson, the Director of the Guilford County Family Justice Center. I have been with Guilford County since July of 2014. Our community had been planning for a Family Justice Center for about 8 years prior to me joining the partnership, and I was here for about a year before our Family Justice Center opened in June 2015. I'm going to talk a little bit about the statistic and history in our community and then share with you about our Family Justice Center. In Guilford County, North Carolina, and the largest city in our county is Greensboro, we on average have about 6,000 calls a year to Child Protective Services for incidences of child abuse, neglect, and exploitation. In addition, we've seen a 28% rise to calls to Adult Protective Services annually over the past 5 years. We are a community that has several colleges and universities close by, and so we see violence and abuse for domestic violence, sexual assault, really across the lifespan here in Guilford County. In addition, on average, 20,000 calls a year go to law enforcement for domestic violence related or sexual abuse related incidences, and that includes 2 very large police departments as well as our local county sheriff's office statistics. In 2013 and 2014, Guilford County got a really bad reputation. And that reputation was that more people were being killed as a result of domestic violence in Guilford County, North Carolina than anywhere else in the state. And unfortunately, some of those incidences of homicide were directly associated with victims who were reaching out for help and falling through the gaps. We knew clearly that the systems put in place to support families weren't working so well, and that a better collaborative, more integrated approach was necessary for our community. And matter of fact, just had to happen. A steering committee was designed and comprised of county commissioners, city council members, our chief district court judge, district attorney's office, area nonprofits who were doing domestic violence, sexual assault work, partnerships with our local universities. Our medical community was also involved. So a real large range of primary service providers and primary entry points for victims of violence and abuse gathered around the table. And from the onset, our partnership was really committed to making sure that we included child, adult, and elder abuse related issues in our center. This committee did some stakeholder surveys to determine readiness and really spent a lot of time leveraging university data collection ability and also what those existing pressures partner agencies were feeling to determine how our partnership was going to consolidate. That also included a small group going out to San Diego and seeing the very first Family Justice Center and really thinking about how that collaborative lens could be applied here to Guilford County. In June 2015, our center opened after many years of planning. You'll see on this slide in the top left corner, that is our entry lobby. Our Family Justice Center is on the 2nd floor of an existing county building where our governance structure is such that I am a small department of county government. Within our Family Justice Center, we have 60 professionals from 15 different agencies. When someone comes into the center, they're entering a county building. On the first floor of this building is Human Resources for Guilford County Government. On the top floor is Finance, the Finance Department for County Government. And so our building is in a centrally located downtown, across from the police department, across from the courthouse, which makes it certainly convenient no matter where a victim shows up seeking help, being diverted back here to our center. It's bulletproof glass and bulletproof sheetrock, and that's not because we think someone's going to come up with a gun, but we really feel like we want to communicate a message of safety from the time someone enters our door until they leave. The big picture to the top right is our waiting room, and the picture on the bottom left is our child's play area. That's kind of the hub of our center and the hospitality that really FJC administratively prides ourselves on. When someone comes to the center, I had a survivor say before we opened, it should look good, feel good, and smell good. I should feel like queen for a day. And we really try to create that type of environment that is comfortable and home-like. And for children, they can stay in our playroom and play while their parents are receiving services if the child itself is not here to receive services. In the bottom right-hand corner is a picture of one of our intake rooms. We have 8 intake rooms total that can be used by any partner here on site. And when a client comes in, after they go through the process of navigation, which happens in these intake rooms, the service professionals who are here to serve that client go to that intake room to deliver their services. You'll see our list of on-site partners include our local Child Advocacy Center, Child Response Initiative, which is a law enforcement patrol-based response, helping to kind of meet some of those off-site needs like housing or emergency needs that families sometimes have. We have legal services on site for children, adults, and elder abuse. So Elon University has a School of Law legal clinic that was developed here. We have adult and child protective services on site, a medical team that can do child medical exams. We work directly with the district attorney's office. And then about a third of our building is law enforcement. Our Greensboro Police Department redesigned themselves in anticipation of the Family Justice Center opening to create a family victims unit, which is 12 detectives and 2 non-sworn positions. And then our sheriff's office did the same thing, creating a domestic violence unit, which houses 6 deputies who work here on site and oversee the civil process of serving restraining orders throughout our county. In addition, Family Service of the Piedmont offers adult and child advocacy services, safety planning, access to shelter, those types of resources. Those main services provided are access to safety planning and shelter, advocacy, criminal investigation, legal services. One of the new things we were able to offer is electronic filing for restraining orders, which is what the picture is on the bottom right. When someone comes into the center, they can file for a restraining order and video conference directly with the judge and clerk's office, never having to leave our center. Prior to the Family Justice Center opening, a victim had to go 6 places and it took 8 hours to get a restraining order. Here from the center, they can do it in about 2 hours and we can provide them snack and child care while that process happens. So not only is it more efficient for victims, but it's also more efficient for professionals working with victims. In addition, we have a variety of other partners who do work in the legal community and also in advocacy and emergency-based resources. And then as a partnership, we do a lot of collective community education, outreach, and prevention. Our number one goal is to save lives, and we've seen a dramatic reduction in domestic violence homicides since we've opened. In the first 2 years, we saw just under 15,000 people come to the center for help. And of those, we've had no homicides directly associated with people who have been here, which we see as a huge success. We are working to make services more accessible. We've seen a significant increase with the district attorney's office and offenders being able to be held more accountable. And we've done some good work in some community-based collaboratives and building external partnerships, including our Elder Justice Committee that's done countywide fraud prevention and education for elder abuse. We have a robust Voices Committee. And in August 2017, we held our very first Camp Hope, North Carolina, and have plans for 2018 underway. I'm gonna let us see a profile video. This is our outreach video that we share when any of our partners go out and do community education.
In 2013 and in 2014, Guilford County led the state for the most domestic violence-related homicides. So that meant that more people were being killed as a result of domestic violence here in our community than anywhere else in the state. So our initial and most important goal was to save lives. Since the opening of the Family Justice Center in June 2015, we've seen a dramatic reduction in domestic violence homicides. The Family Justice Center is a one-stop shop for victims of child abuse, elder abuse, and adult domestic and sexual violence. Here at the center, we have almost 60 professionals from 15 different disciplines who work in an integrated model, meaning that someone coming in who is seeking assistance can receive help from multiple partners all at the same time. Partners include law enforcement. The Greensboro Police Department's Family Victims Unit is located here on site. Guilford County Sheriff's Office is here on site. They have a domestic violence unit. Family Service of the Piedmont has a variety of services here, including adult victim advocacy, child advocacy. We have a variety of partners who do civil legal work, which includes legal aid, Elon University School of Law, the Children's Law Center, and each of those partners offer a variety of different types of legal services to kind of meet the civil needs of clients coming into the center.
One thing that we recognize is that as police officers, we can't solve all the problems. We need help. And when we recognize that there are resources in our communities that we could be a part of bringing together into one place, then we were all for it. So we've assigned a full investigative squad, our Family Victim Unit, to be housed in the Family Justice Center building. With that, they have more time to ensure that they investigate cases more fully, and so therefore you have more accountability with these offenders.
When the concept of the Family Justice Center was coming together, the Guilford County Sheriff's Office was implementing a new domestic violence offender focus program. It just seemed to be a really natural fit for us to be housed with the Family Justice Center. I think it facilitates a lot of things, whereas victims were having to go from one place to another just to, fill out the paperwork, meet with the sheriff's office, bring their paperwork over to make sure that the paperwork got served. Now all they have to do is walk a few steps, next door to us, and we're right there.
In my case, I have a lot of Hispanic community, Latino community visiting, and sometimes having someone in their own language that can understand their culture, and at the same time we can explain them the dynamics of the domestic violence specifically, and they understand, okay, I can get help, I can be helped in this place, and giving them the tools to go back to the communities feeling safe, stable, and have hope for their communities and their families.
We have a child advocacy center, and so on site here we can conduct forensic interviews. We have people qualified to do that here. And what that does for the child is it minimizes the amounts of time that they'll have to tell their story. They only have to tell their story once, because you don't want to re-victimize them over and over again. And even still, if an adult is here, say she has to bring her children because they're not safe, we have this room here where they can sit, we have snacks, we just try to do whatever we can do to help make that a little easier through a really difficult situation when there are kids involved.
When you're face to face with partners, things happen. Being able to walk into a partner's office, whether it's the Greensboro Police Department, it's legal aid, family service, our child advocacy center, being able to actually walk into their offices and talk with that specific provider about a client's situation has been so helpful.
Folks say, well, how do you know you're making a difference? And one of those ways that I respond to that is within our first 2 years, we served in total nearly 11,000 individuals and families who've come here to the Center for Help. And thus far, 11,000 individuals and families have lived. And so when we think about our impact and think about making our community safer, equipping individuals and families with the resources that they need in a timely way, we know that Guilford County is definitely a safer place for all as a result of the Family Justice Center and our partners.
All right, and that's our contact information here in Guilford County. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I have a couple of questions for you. One of the questions that I like to ask folks is, what makes your particular center unique?
I think that's a good question, and in some ways it's a tough question. One of the things for Greensboro that I think is interesting about our community is that when the Family Justice Center was in development, this is the first type of co-located collaborative that our community has ever had. And specifically, around the renovations, it cost $500,000 to renovate our space. And it was the first time in city, county government history that they had ever shared a cost, an equal part cost on a project. So I think for our community particularly, and we have a lot of resources, but those resources have been spread really wide. The work that and the planning and the discussions and all that good stuff that went into place to make the center launch, there's some uniqueness that I think applies to the Greensboro-Guilford County lens that we've seen here in our community.
And that segues into another question, is that, so what changes have you seen in your community because of the Family Justice Center?
Certainly a lot of other entities like housing and mental health and drug addiction and things like that are looking at this collaborative as a real model for integrated care. And so that has been something that folks have said about our Family Justice Center. Also think that we've seen the homicide reduction. We've had a lot of success. Some of our partners have been trained in strangulation response, and we've accrued some expertise that have allowed us to be more effective in the criminal justice process and the civil process. One area specifically is the first 6 months we opened, we realized we didn't have access to enough legal services. So we worked with our local law school, and they worked on a grant, and we implemented a legal clinic. And I think we've just had some real good successes that our community has seen as momentum building over here and helping people get what they need.
Wow, that's amazing. And one other thing too is I'd like to ask our affiliated centers in particular, can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to affiliate or to become an affiliated center with the Alliance?
Sure. So when I was in the planning, I worked here for about 11 months before the Family Justice Center opened, and I chuckle, and I've said this to Casey and Gail, I've probably read Dream Big, Start Small 20 times. I mean, I have pages flagged and all kinds of things, watched plenty of webinars. And from the beginning, the Alliance has always been my staple resource for figuring this stuff out, from strategic planning to implementation to launching. And even though, every center is unique and you kind of take that information and build your own box, so to speak, it has just been critical in helping this be successful. And so when the affiliation process came out, I really felt like it was important, number one, to say that we not only do this work, but that this has got the seal of approval from people who've been doing this a heck of a lot longer than we have. And I also think it shows like a joint commitment, our commitment to the Alliance and the Alliance commitment to us. And we're certainly committed to the long-term success of the center, and the Alliance provides the technical assistance that really helps make all this work.
Oh, that sounds great. One final thing is, if you could take a couple of seconds and come up with words of wisdom, one piece of advice that you would like to share with open centers or with developing centers, what would that be?
For me, it's been really important to have colleagues that work outside of my system that I can call and lean into. And so I'm close with the other Family Justice Center directors, both of which are affiliated sites in North Carolina, and really making sure you have that go-to person that you can process with, because this work is really challenging. And just as Family Justice Center is about community, I think leadership in this work is really about community too. And so figuring out who those leaders are that you can connect with and lean into, and then let them lean into you, I think that's really important for the longevity and success of being an FJC leader.
Oh, I absolutely agree. That's wonderful. That's great advice for everybody. Well, thank you very much, Catherine, for sharing your center with us all. And for those of you who are watching the webinars in this webinar series, we hope that the information you're receiving is helping you with the creation of your center or with the evolution of your existing center. And if you have any more questions, again, please feel free to contact the Alliance and we'll be ready to help. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.